Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Doing another video today on the K40 laser cutter. Today's video is going to be how to align it. I've wanted to make this video for a while, but my machine's just been perfectly aligned and yeah, just didn't need to do it. I've moved my machine now slightly in the workshop. It's gone slightly out of alignment, so I thought I'll make a video on it. I see as the most requested question of these machines, how to align it. It is really easy, but if you don't know how to do it, obviously it's not going to be that easy. But that's what I'm going to show you now. I'm going to show you the easiest way, probably the best explanation I can give it to align these machines. So you can do it yourself, and you should be able to do it in a couple of minutes. So a few tools you're going to need. You're going to need some masking tape. You're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, your safety goggles, fire extinguisher, should always have one at hand, and you may or may not need some sort of shim, so I use these little metal washers. So you've got three mirrors. You've got one in the back just off the tube, so your second mirror, your third mirror. It will start with the first mirror, so we're going to go to the back of the machine and we're going to align that one first. So let's go there. Okay, and just like magic, we're at the back of the machine. As you can see, I haven't got the cover on it. I've taken off. There's just two little clips. You only really need to undo one, and then you can just pull it out. And also ignore the cloudy water. There's just a bit of dish soap in there. Just remove my machine, and yeah, the dish soap just helps get rid of bubbles from the tube. So you got your first mirror here in the back, and this is where the beam straight from the tube is going to hit first. Now with this one, this one should be right there or thereabouts. So you're going to get your first bit of masking tape. Doesn't have to be neat. I'll just put it directly over the mirror. Goggles on. I'm just going to run a quick pulse. So get you off the tripod and look at that. And you can see in the mirror it's hitting fairly centered. And yeah, that is centered, that's good enough. If you ever find it's going too far left or too far right, you'll see this little bracket here. There's a screw holding it in place. You might have two screws, because I think I lost one of them. You can just put the screwdriver in there, you can loosen that, and you can move this mirror upwards or left or right, just to get that on the center. So if you're too far to the left, you can move the mirror to the right. If you're too far to the right, other way around, sorry. If you're too far to the left, you can move the mirror up to the left. Too far to the right, you move it to the right, just getting centered. If you ever find you're too high or too low, you can just bend the bracket slightly. Doesn't need to be too much, but you can take it out and shim it up. It's just a bit of a pain with this one. But that first mirror should be fine. I say should be, but you never know with these machines. Okay, back on the tripod. So I'm happy with that. That's all it took. I have twisted these knobs to make it really out of alignment, just so I can show you exactly how to align it, because that mirror 1 and mirror 2 were already aligned for me. It was just mirror 3 that was slightly out. So go back to the front of the machine now, and we're going to start aligning to the second mirror. Okay, right, so we're back to the front of the machine. So how we align it, usually align it so you put the mirror furthest away from the other mirror and you align it. But first we're going to want to find out where this beam is hitting, because we haven't got a clue. So get a piece of masking tape, put it just on the front bracket there. Put the mirrors up as close as you can. It's going to run a couple of pulses. And I can see so it's made a scorch mark. It's there or thereabouts on the mirror. So now I'm going to put the tape on the mirror, and I'm going to find out where it is. Right, so let me show you. So we're way too far to the right. So what we need to do, we need to adjust mirror number 1 to move this beam to the left. So we're too far to the right, so we're going to want to twist this top one to the left. Let's have a look what that's done. Move this up a bit. So we're down here, we're at the bottom now. So now we're going to want to bring it up, which is then the bottom one. Just a few random twists, you know, we're not going too much, not going too little. I'm just trying to get that burn mark on the mirror, which you can see we've hit there. So once you've got to this point, I said this isn't a line, this is just finding out where the beam is. So once we've got the beam on mirror number 2, fresh, it's not a fresh piece of paper, try and get a fresh piece covering the mirror. And now this is where the alignment starts. So I'm just going to run a pulse here. And we're not too far off the center there, so we're too far to the right. So it's the top left one here, it's too far to the right, we're going to want to turn left. So when you're lining, you want to do the smallest of turns. That was like a 1/10 of a turn. We haven't moved too much. Let's go again to the left, just doing small turns. And I'd say we're actually centered there. Be back on the tripod. Fresh piece of tape on the mirror. And let's run a pulse. Get it back out of there. So I'm happy with that. That's really central. So once you've got your dot as central as you can get it, so with the mirror being furthest away from the other mirror, so we've brought the gantry ruler down all the way up to the top now as far as it goes. So this is where it starts getting a little bit hard. So I'm going to run a quick pulse. And as you can see, I'm too far to the right now. So furthest away in the center, up close to the right. So now what we're going to want to do, we don't mess around now with the mirrors up close. You only want to do it now for furthest away. So the smallest of movements are going to make big differences. So all I really want to do is bring this dot that's in the center. It's going to come out of the center, but it's going to come to the right. So the burn mark, let's move that there. The burn mark we got now up here, even though it's not centered, I'm going to want to try and get the burn mark from furthest away to match up with it. So we want to come to the left, we'll start about 2 mil maybe. So back over to the mirrors, so to the left, so I'm going to turn this to the right, the smallest bit. Halfway, so a small turn, I'm going to do a little bit of a big one, slightly to the right. You turn right to make it go left, if that makes sense. Again, tiny little amount. And that's directly on top there. So it may have moved at the top here, so we're going to do the exact same thing again. Fresh piece of tape over the mirror for a pulse. Same again here, back down for a pulse. So again, we are still slightly out. So small turn again to the right. And I think that's it. Fresh bit of tape covering the mirror again. Do the exact same thing again. Quick pulse there. So that's the burn we just made. So those two dots there are directly on top of each other, I believe. Let me just take my goggles off. Yeah, directly on top of each other. So now we've got these on there, I completely forgot where it was. Let's get you back on the tripod. Fresh piece of paper going on. Run a pulse. So now, even though these two dots are directly on top of each other, we're not in the center of the mirror. So what we're going to do now to get in the center of the mirror, you don't need to move these the mirror screws anymore. So we're too far to the left, so we're going to want to move the bracket to the left. So I'm just going to loosen these two screws, holding the second mirror in place. I'm just going to push this over to the left. You can run a pulse here and check it. I'm going to bring it to the right ever so slightly. And then tighten them up. Fresh piece covering that. Just too far to the right. Now we just need to go to the left. Because when you tighten it, see, you are slightly moving it again, so we'll go slightly to the left. Let's have a look at that. Left. These movements here have got to be so small. Right there, that's perfect. So what I'm going to try and just, it's hard trying to do the camera on this, I'm just going to put my thumb on there to put some pressure on it. So hopefully it doesn't move when I'm tightening it. Fresh piece over the front. That is central. Bang. Let's make it a big hole. Right. If you find your beam's not coming out clean, you just need to give it a wipe down. So I use isopropyl alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol, yeah. Wipes. You can just get a cotton bud and isopropyl alcohol. I'm just going to gently rub it over the top of the mirror. I can see this, it is a bit dirty. It will get dirty, see, from the burning of the tape. So it's clean. I didn't just fall over, honest. Just give them a gentle wipe. See, there's a bit of residue. That's just from the paper. So double, triple check. Just going to show you now how central this is. Good pulse there. To the centre. That's just off centre, I'll sort that out. But then, as you can see, these two are hitting it perfect. Spot on. Okay, right. I'm happy with that. Mirror number 3. So what I should say is, when we move this left or right, so once you've got the two beams hitting each other, if they're two, because you can see I've got, can I zoom in there? I've got two washers in there underneath the screws. basically took the bracket out and I just shimmed it with 2 washers because it was too low by a couple of mil, so I had to raise it. So yeah, what I did was take the screws out, take the bracket off. There's no wires or nothing there, so it's fine. And I just shimmed it up with a couple of these. And yeah, that brought it where I need to be. Because where a lot of people do get confused is even if you do get the 2 points directly on top of each other and it's too low, you think you need to adjust the mirrors, but you don't. You just need to adjust the bracket of where the mirror actually is. Because small movements down here can move the beam all over the place. Small movements up there doesn't do hardly anything. So yeah, once you've got the beam hitting each other, and say you just need to mess with the bracket. So now we're going to go on to mirror number 3, and it's exactly the same here. I don't know where the beam's going to be hitting, so I'm just going to put a piece for there, pulse it, and we are quite a bit out there. So it is within the paper, so I'm happy now just to put my piece of paper over there so you can see the hole. This is where we need to hit the mirrors inside there. So let's bring them close again. Again, it's not a line there, it's just finding where the beam is. So the beam is too far up and too far to the right. So now we'll do some adjustments over here. It's really hard to get in here, so let me just pop you back on the tripod. So what did I say? Too far to the right, so we're going to want to turn this to the left. And then we're too far up, so I'm just going to bring it down. Right, so it's got the beam there. So always find where your beam's hitting before you start aligning. As I said, the beam could be going anywhere. So once I know I've got the beam hitting where the mirror should be, I'm just going to move it back halfway just to find it's still hitting roughly there. So let me bring you down and show you what I mean here. So I've got it hitting here. So as you can see that big burn mark, but then when I move it back, we're going to the left and we're going down. But I know, so the one at the furthest bottom left down here, that's where the beam's hitting furthest away. So we're going to want to make some adjustments over here. Right, so small adjustments again. So we're going to want to bring it to the right, so I'm turning this one left. No, I need to turn it right, it's the other way this time. So we need to go again, bring it more to the right. So we're hitting the bottom of where we need to hit now. So we're hitting that burn mark, so I need to bring him up. So now I'm going to turn this one. It's hard when you've got big sausage fingers like me. So we've raised that mirror. So we can come up a smidge. Smidge more. Too much. So bring it down. So you can see these small turns are making big differences. So and we can put that a little bit more. Perfect. Right, so where we need to be here. So we got that dead in the middle. So I'm just going to bring him all the way to the front now and find where this beam's hitting. So you can see the beams hit into the top right a bit. Let me just change the paper over. So that top right compared to that center. So I'm going to want to bring that. So again, it's the same with mirror 1 and 2 to 2 and 3. We get it centered at the back. Let me try and get comfortable there because it's hard to get in the corner. So we get the beam central at the back, bring it to the front, find the beam. So I can see there it's slightly up and slightly to the right. So I want to aim to get the back beam as close as I can to the front beam now. So I'm going back here. So I need to move that central one up and to the right. So do some turns here. And then let's find that up and to the right. I think I might have done it first time, but always double, triple check. So that's there. I'll probably bring it up a little bit. Right, I'm happy with that. Let me just get a fresh, I say a fresh piece, but it's going to be a piece without a burn mark on it. So, quick burn there. Burn there. I am going to bring them up a little bit more. Dead on. Right. So I'm happy with that. So now what we're going to want to do is get you back in the tripod. I'm going to do it all over again. Fresh piece of masking paper, masking tape. Over there. I'm going to run a pulse. Just get a burn mark on there. Bring him back to the bottom. That is perfect. So now down to mirror 3, the exact same thing. Pulse that. And pulse that. Right, so I do want to bring mirror 3 up a little bit more. Right, there we go. So it's aligned, but we are slightly to the right. So let me bring you in here. As you see, the burn is slightly to the right. You could argue it's too high, but I think it'll hit the mirror fine. So that we will test it by doing a cut, but I think that'll be fine. But we are too far to the right. So again, what you're going to want to do here now is you've got these 3 screws here. So I'm going to loosen all of these. Let's move that a second. So we're too far to the right, so I'm going to want to bring this down. Tighten them up. Tighten them up. So because the beam was hitting too far this way, what I've done, I've loosened the bracket and I brought the bracket down a little bit. So when I run a quick burn there, I can see that's directly in the center. It is a bit too high. I'm going to sort that out actually. But I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this, but at least it's going to show you. So what I'm going to want to do now, I'm going to want to shim it with these washers. So you're going to have to take these screws out. Ooh. Take these screws out. This is really finicky, this is. We'll do one at a time. So only little screws like this. And now your washer is going to want to go under the plate. So under there, so lift that up, line that up with the thread, and then put the, this is what I mean by finicky. I've lost that washer already. Oh, actually I think that washer was just a little bit too big. Go with a smaller hole. And then put the screw back into the thread. Tighten them down. So this one's already shimmed up, see, as you can see, but I'm going to pop another one in there. So this, it'll change every time we do a brand new alignment, see. So when I first got my machine, it was at 95% there. And I'm going to have to undo this screw as well. Yeah, when I first got my machine, it was 95% aligned, and obviously it wasn't shimmed or nothing. But to get it back into that state, so you can align it without any of that, I mean, obviously it can be done. It's just a lot of hard work. And I just lost that washer down there. Is this magnetic? Here it is. Right, so we've got two washers on top of each other here. The thing is, this is really hard to do. Another alternative is you could just use some masking tape. Can I find those washers? Yeah, just use some of the old masking tape that you've been using. A little bit of masking tape. Just wrap it around there just to add some thickness to this washer. I've got a pencil here, I can just stab in. Screw in. And this then. Slide over there, put that in place, and get the screw. So this is really finicky. A lot better if you've got small fingers, but that's in place. I'm going to do the same with this washer. Just going to fatten them up with a bit of masking tape. Stab pencil through. Put the screw through. It's really hard to try and film at the same time. I swear, guys. If you're not subscribing after me doing this, it's gonna go nuts. I mean, it won't, but. So we've got the all lined up. Pop them in there, find the thread. And if you do have a 3D printer as well, you you could probably make like a whole shim for it, but then that is hassle because it'd have to be like the perfect size. Here we go. Right, so we found the thread. Right, so I'm gonna have to bring this back down because we have gone that's a little. So no, because there's 3 screws as well. So make sure you, because this could tilt slightly when tightening it. So make sure it's flush. Otherwise, you could just be hitting the wall, and you'll have a split beam, which is what we want. But let's try this again. Better, but I need to now bring the bracket back down to the left because the beam's too far to the right. How's that looking? Happy with that. It could probably still do it coming down, but zoom out a bit. It's central enough so I know it's not going to split the beam, so it's going to hit the mirror and it's going to come out the other end perfect. So you know what we need to do here now, guys. We need to check it all again, everything. So a central. That is absolutely spot on. So we've got mirror 3 perfectly aligned. Double check mirror 2. I say double check, this is probably the 10th time. Spot on. So the last thing we need to do now is check it up in the top right. This theoretically should be in the right place, but it's a K40 and you know what these things are like. Perfect. Absolutely spot on. So before we do any test fires, I'm going to clean my mirrors again. Right. I'm going to wipe them with a wet, and there's like an alcohol wipe. I'm going to dry it then with this. Dry it with a Q-tip. Same with the back mirror. Yeah, don't press them too hard because they're aligned. You don't want to mess them up. Get in there to dry that. Cleaning mirror 3 is a little different. Rotate that, and you should be able to get in there and pop that out. The tripod's falling over. Alright, get in there, pull that out. Give that a good wipe. And a good dry. isopropyl alcohol, obviously it'll dry on its own very quickly. Okay, right, so we got that. Let's get so a couple of washes in there and just pop them to the bottom. So chuck a beam down on that. How small and perfect those dots are. Right, I'm just gonna load up the laptop, connect it to this, and I'm just gonna run a quick test cut, and then we're done. Alright guys, so we're all done now. We're just gonna run a very quick cut. Low setting, 8 milliamps, 5 millimeters a second, just for a cut. And yeah, let's see how it goes. There we go, cut's done. Spot on. That easy, guys. I have to excuse the ghetto air I got going on at the moment. It's all being sorted out. So yeah, there we go. That's my video tutorial on how to align your K40 machine. I said it's so easy to do once you know how to do it. Back mirror first, make sure it's centered. Come to your second mirror, find the beam, get it centered to the furthest point away. Get the beam then to the top, find out where it is, and then match the furthest beam to the front beam. Then do your adjustments there with the screws. Same again with the third mirror, find the beam, align it, get it centered the furthest way back, find your beam on the front, match those two dots up, and then add a screw and move the bracket. And it's job done. It is, guys, like I said, once you know how to do that, it's so easy to do. So honestly, if you have learned how to do it and you're going to give it a go yourself, let me know how successful you were. And if you think this video was helpful, definitely give me a thumbs up, subscribe. And yeah, I really do hope I've helped some people there align it, because I think everybody should be able to align their own machine. I don't think it's fair that people get these machines without knowing how complicated aligning them is, and then not be able to use them until they get someone out to do it. So yeah, I really do hope this has helped somebody. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next video. You all have a good one. Ta-ra.